DBA YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to discuss about how to use temporary table space at the cluster level and database level at row level. So first of all, why we need a temporary table spaces? So in real time, when you are performing a bulk data load or so heavily used application query which takes long running queries, so what it will do, it will create the temporary files under your data directory, because by default it will uses the default temp table space which is pj default, so which uses the directory also didn't set that, because temp file limit by default is -1, which means unlimited. So because of this, which creates the number of files under this directory, and it will lead into the storage exhaustion, or the file has been piled up, so which leads into the database shutdown. Handle this scenario, either we can set the value of temp file limit equal to, depends on the workload, either you can keep it 2 GB, 5 GB or 10 GB. Alternatively, you can create a temporary table space into the non-default location. So what are the benefits you will get it? So by default it uses the pj default which is under the data directory. In case of bulk data load or long running queries which use this space, which leads into the storage exhaustion or disk space has been filled up. And also, if you use the custom table spaces, which means temp table space or non-default area, which helps to, even though that storage have enough space, so which is not impact your existing running data. So how it works, when you are creating a temp table spaces, first of all you need to create a file at that OS layer, which means you have to create a directory. It's kind of like this. So once you created, by using this location you have to create a table space. At the top layer you have to assign the table space either the cluster level or database level or at the row level. So this is the command, so I will show you in the demand. So first we have to create a data directory, and we have to use as a postgres user only, otherwise it will show the permission error. So post that we will connect the database and we will create the table spaces. So when you are executing the db plus command, so you can see that default table spaces of pg default and pg global. So here you can see this is our non-default table space, so that's why you are able to see the directory location and the table space name, who is the owner of the table space. So if you are going to use, or you have to create a user, and that user you have to assign at the database level. So you can get the details of by using l plus command. So who is the database owner of everything, you can see. For if you are going to set the row level, you have to execute like this. If you are going to add the set the database level, you have to use like this. So what is the differences? The if you are setting the temp table space for the row level, as a user or role, if you are connecting any database, okay, it uses the this table space only. For example, if you are connecting as a database, all the any user connects this database, it uses the temp table space only. So once you set that temp table space, so you have to use the temp table spaces. So this is that if any temp custom or non-default temp table space has been set, it will give the output. If it is a default temp table space, it will show as a empty. Okay. So how we can establish the connections, or how we can monitor the where the temp table space has been created? So when it was creating a non-default table spaces, so you can execute this query, so which provides the uh, non-default, which means pg default and the file names. So if it uses, it will provide you like this output, uh, temp table space and our file name, what is the size when the changes has been happened. Okay, so this is the total overview. Let's deep dive into the working session. So for this demo, I am going to use Postgres 15 fnp 5433. So you can just verify the database version. So base name called tmp tvs. So I will call temp table underscore demo. I will call it as, okay. So you can just verify that temp table spaces, so which is empty. This is using that default temp table space. So for that, as we see, we have to execute make dir where lib pgsql. I'm going to say temp, just it should be temp, not emp. Okay, temp tvs. If you want, you can just verify ls even th. Okay, so make sure it is the super user permission only. You OS user and the group should be same. Connect your Postgres instances. So okay, here connecting my temp underscore tbl demo, create table space temp underscore tbs. Okay, okay, just to verify that. Now we have created the temp table space, right? So alter system set temp table spaces equals this one. Okay, so to apply these changes, we have to reload the configurations. Okay, so this temp table space has been set at the cluster level, even though if you are connecting at any database, which show the same value. Okay, now you can create a table. For the create table, I'm going to just to perform the create table. Once I done, I will just execute this query for a monitoring purpose. It will lead into the confusion. Okay, now let's perform the insert. So for this, I am going to execute this one. Now you can go back to this query, so you can see. So what this query will provide you, it in case of the any transaction is performing, right? So it will create the temporary files. This query will provide you that output of where the temporary files are creating, which table space has been used, and what is the size. Okay, so another thing is the temporary files are at the session level only. You cannot access the another user or another person. Once the session exists or the transaction has been completed or rolled back, that session will automatically gone. Sorry, the files has been automatically gone. So if you see that, so we have cancelled that insert query. So because of that, you are seeing the empty rows. Okay, now what we can do, just to do truncate table of rush. Okay, so don't execute the truncate at your production or other environments. Okay, this is a demo server, so I am executing it now. For the database level, what you have to do, before that, let me reset the parameter. System reset parameter name is Tablespaces. So just to reload that server, reload underscore corner. Okay, now verify Tablespace. Right now it is using that this only. Alter database set temp, and we are setting this value. Okay, so now you can, I believe we can reload. If you still temp TBL demo. Okay, so you can see the differences. Now I verified the temp table space at this Postgres database, which is still using the PG default. So I have created this table. The table is available. Okay, you can just execute it. So there was no query. Now again I am performing the same thing. This time I am going to use the database. Okay, still it is creating the temp table space at the database level as well. Okay, um, okay, you can cross verify the user as well. So the user testing has been created. Now connect the just plus employees. What is it? Temp DBL demo. Temp DBL demo still points to the also only. And, so you can just verify the user. That user still is testing only, that which is exist. So we have to change the database ownership as well. So for that I'm going to use the command of database temp underscore tbl demo. So owner to testing. Okay, let's verify that. Yes, so this database owner is changed into testing, right? Now you can connect that database to the test. The select current user which provides the which user has connected to this database, right? So right now you can see the testing user has been connected with this database. Let's it was empty. Let's perform the table space. You can see here. So at the cluster level, at the database level, when you set assert this one, which was creating under the temp table spaces, right? even though you can just verify. So even though at the database level we have set the temp TBS that user has connected to testing, when it tries to perform any query, still it uses the PG default. Okay, so why in the same this user current user. So if you see here, even though that temp table space at the database level has been set, the query still provides you the output of PG default only, right? So that purpose, what we are going to do, we are going to provide the grant, because as per the documentation, it clearly explains that the temp table space is set to interactively specifying a non-existent table space. So that's what you are getting this kind of issue. Okay, because it doesn't have a create privilege. However, when we are using a set value on the non-existent table spaces are ignored. That's why table spaces which is lack of create privilege. So in the particular loop, so what we can do, it uses the default location even though it has the privilege at the database level, still uses it, right? So what we can do, we can provide the create on table space temp underscore tbs to user testing. Okay, so what we can do, just log out fnd temp underscore tbs demo hyphen testing. Okay, so just current user, so which is testing only. So this is a large table. I'm going to perform the same insert. Right now you can see this output. So the temp table space has been used when you are connecting as a role. So this is the main differentiate I want to show in this demo. I hope you are clear. So thank you for watching. For more videos, you can subscribe to my channel.